Today's show is brought to you by tweetpages.com. Customized graphics for Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and more. You want to look like a pro and impress your clients and friends? Well, it's cheaper than you think. Go to tweetpages.com, enter promo code LIFEUNDERPAR.
You're listening to Life Under Par, the only devotional podcast dedicated to the Christian golfer and the pursuit of spiritual growth in Christ. It doesn't matter if you're a duffer, a hacker, a weekend warrior, or even a golf pro. This podcast is for you. So let's get started. For Life Under Par, here's your host, Pastor Phil Ayers.
Well, hey everybody, this is Phil Ayers for the Life Under Par podcast. What's a podcast, you say? Well, a podcast is an internet radio show. But I don't really have to tell you guys that. You're already listening. But that's what you might need to tell your friends if they have some questions. Because you might tell them, hey, I found this cool new podcast that I've been listening to. And they kind of look at you with this blank stare and say, like, what's a podcast? And you say it's an internet radio show, which of course you can find in a lot of places. lifeunderpar.com, you can listen to it there. I just installed something new, and I'm hoping that this will help us get more of an audience for those people that are living on Facebook. Some people think the internet is basically Facebook. I've installed a player at the Life Under Par page on Facebook. Simple. When you're on Facebook, just search for Life Under Par. Of course, you can listen to the show on Stitcher Radio as well, but the best way, if you ask me, to listen to Life Under Par is on iTunes. Whether you have your computer or your phone, you just open up iTunes, do a search for Life Under Par, and you'll be able to subscribe to the link. And the cool thing about that is that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday then, the show will automatically download to your computer or to your phone, whether you have iOS or Android, and you'll be able to listen to the show just as it happens every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that's a great way to check it out. So anyway, today is episode 15. We're going to talk about some great stuff on the show. The idea here is that we talk about golf, and then we relate that to a spiritual principle, because golf is really a great metaphor for life. It's a great teacher for life, and I've found that over the years there are these spiritual teachable moments that I encounter on the golf course, and I assume that you do as well. That's probably why you're listening. And of course, I have something like that for you today. But before we get into all that, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors. I don't know if you're trying to get a business going, or you have a business already, or maybe you work at a church, or you're working with a church or something. Whatever it is, you need shirts. You need hats, you need pens, you need notepads, things with your logo on them. Or maybe you're running a business and you're getting ready for a trade show and you want to look good. Well, take a listen to this quick promo from one of my favorite sponsors, Imagination Marketing Solutions.
Trade shows are your time to stand out from the crowd, but does your booth look like it's from the 70s? Imagination Marketing Solutions offers fully custom-printed tablecloths, retractable banners, pop-up backdrops, and more, with eye-catching graphics in brilliant colors. Call Imagination Marketing Solutions today at 407-260-5700 or online at imaginationms.com. Make your business the talk of the trade show with help from the professionals at Imagination Marketing Solutions.
All right, let's do a couple of shout-outs too. I was just thinking about this. I want to say thanks to Joel, Wilson, and Johnny. These were three of the guys who went out to iTunes to post a positive review of the show, and I had sort of a little contest. The first three people to do that would receive 3 free HomeStriker golf balls. A couple of shows ago, I reviewed this thing called the HomeStriker, which is a real golf ball that you can hit in your backyard or in some sort of a limited space, because it's got like a little parachute basically attached to it, and it's a great product, and I love it. These guys were willing to go out and do a review. They were the first three to do it, and so I'll be sending you 3 free HomeStrikers. If you want to buy some of these, I recommend it. I think it's a great practice tool because you get real strike feedback from this golf ball. It's not like hitting a wiffle ball or a foam ball. Just go out to lifeunderpar.com and check out the sponsor tab, and you'll find their banner, and you can find them the place to buy it. I think they're about 3 for $18, but if you mention Life Under Par, you'll get an extra HomeStriker. So that's 4 for $18, and it includes shipping and also free customization. So if you have a logo or something, you want to do it as a gift for somebody, it's a great, great item. Well, let me tell you this little story as we move into the theme of today's show. A friend of mine who's sort of new to golf was ready to finally get out on the golf course. He had been at the driving range a few different times and asked me if I could set up a time for him and I to play. So I found us a tee time, in the evening when it's not so busy at the course because, it's a lot of pressure for somebody new playing. So we went out there in the evening, got to the first tee. I teed up first and hit a really nice shot just down the right side of the fairway, probably about 240 yards. Pretty pleased with that shot considering the fact that it was my first swing of the day. He tees up his ball, puts his driver head behind the ball there. He is settling into his shot, looking very, very intense. Begins to bring the club back slowly all the way to the top, makes a full turn, and then a mighty, mighty lash at the ball. I mean, like this whoosh sound that, was intense. The only problem is that he absolutely missed the ball. It was a complete whiff. And he sort of looked at me kind of embarrassed and looked at him. He did one of those kind of like Reggie Jackson swinging for the fence moves where your body sort of spins around. And I looked at the starter, and the starter kind of looked at us. And he said, "Oh, does that count as a stroke?" And a lot of people don't realize this, but if you have intention to hit the ball when you swing, and if you miss, it does count as a stroke. I said, "Yeah, well, it counts as a stroke, but we're just out here to have fun and learn, so don't worry about it." So anyway, he finally got his club on the ball, and we moved down the fairway. I hit my shot, my approach shot. It was about, I think, a 140-yard shot. I hit a nice little 7-iron to about the middle of the green. Really happy with that. Left me about 8-9 feet for for birdie. He hit a few more shots, and he ended up on the green as well. So far, so good. I line up for this birdie putt, 8-9 feet, slightly left to right break, and I got a little too much of it. Didn't get a feel for the greens before we started playing, and I sent this ball past the hole a little farther than I would have liked. I think, 3-4 feet past. He putted his ball a couple times, got it in the hole, no problem. I go for my comebacker putt for par, and I missed that putt. Made a good run at it, but I've got, I'm left with about 4 or 5 inches. I go up to pull that little tap-in putt deal, you know what I mean, where you just sort of one-hand it. And I accidentally tapped it and missed my 4.5-inch putt. I was kind of embarrassed, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I go, we're just playing a friendly round. But at that moment, I realized something. That in golf, it doesn't matter how far the shot is, how good the shot is, how bad the shot is. All the shots you take on a golf course are worth one stroke. No matter what. And in golf, I tend to put my emphasis on longer shots, like more complicated shots or more difficult shots, drives, approaches, that kind of thing. But in the end, a 4.5-inch putt is worth exactly the same to your scorecard as a 240-yard drive. It's exactly the same as if you whiff it. It's still worth one stroke. And here's the thing. It's the same as sin. No, you're thinking, whoa. This guy's going to talk about sin. Yeah, hear me out. In life, we tend to categorize and rank sins. We see some of them being big sins and some of them being little sins. For example, murder or robbing a bank or cheating on our spouse or dealing drugs or something like that. Those are like big-time sins, while things like gossip or telling a little white lie or having a bad attitude, or saying something hurtful to a friend, coworker, or spouse or something. Those are like little sins. Now, we may categorize them, we may rank them, but in God's eyes, sin is sin. It's just like, the fact that the shortest putt is worth one stroke, just like every other shot. The smallest sin is really the same as the bigger sin. Check this out. This is from the Bible. This is the book of James, 2nd chapter, 10th verse. It says, For whoever keeps the whole law and yet stumbles at just one point is guilty of breaking all of it. So, according to the Bible, the smallest sin carries the same penalty as the largest sin. If you commit the smallest sin, it's like you've committed all of them. Now, the good news is that you don't have to pay the penalty for these sins, no matter how big or small, because Jesus died for all of them, the biggest, the worst, the ugliest, or at least the way we categorize them, and even the smaller ones, the ones that don't seem that bad. And that is truly, truly good news. So if you need more information on what it takes to be truly forgiven, drop me a line at lifeunderpar@gmail.com, and we'll continue this conversation there. Well, everybody, that's our show for today. Thanks again for joining me on the podcast or the internet radio show, whatever you want to call it. Don't forget to tell your friends about it. Remember, you can subscribe on iTunes, or you can listen on Facebook now, or find us on the web at lifeunderpar.com. This has been Pastor Phil saying, don't forget to rake those bunkers, fill those divots, keep pace of play, and have a great, great week, everyone. God bless.